Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I have to say, this is the first ever episode of It's Game Time. With my co-host here, as always, is Jett. Jett, introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? I'm excited to finally get this podcast started. I've been waiting weeks for this first episode to start to air to all you guys, and I'm excited to share both of our knowledge with you about sports. And we're going to battle in some heated debates, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and it might stir some controversy.
We're hoping so. Apparently, Jett thinks that you can only get popular through having controversial takes, in which that's his main thing, apparently, from what the takes he has.
I'm all about the entertainment. A lot of what we see on television and radio today, it's all about the entertainment. People will watch and listen if you provide entertainment as well. You got to be right sometimes, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, no, see, that's what I'll be the person that is usually correct for these things, and you can be the entertainment factor if you really want.
I mean, I don't like to say that I have the same personality as Stephen A. Smith or like Colin Cowherd or something like that, but I'm gonna try and bring it like they do. I'll probably say blasphemous a couple times. I'll probably do some crazy things like that. But we gotta get a sound effect that says this is blasphemous.
Oh, I mean, we could definitely like look it up on the internet and just randomly play it at times and have that like video clip automatic. But
that's what I thought of when I first saw your rankings.
Oh, come on. I don't know. I spent probably like 2 hours looking at finding some statistics, man.
I mean, yeah, but the only thing I would say about it is you definitely had a hard time making up your mind, because I got like five different versions of your power rankings. So I'm curious to see why you move some of these teams up and down.
Hey, man. The thing is that guess what? Yesterday was jammed packed with very important games. I mean, to start it off, you got a little like banner right in the corner of your screen, and it's all about the Knicks. The Knicks, the New York Knickerbockers, man.
It's been impressive.
Fourth seed. They won against the Celtics to claim the fourth seed and take it away from the Heat.
Well, I was hoping the Celtics almost came back at the end there, and I was hoping that was going to happen, because I wanted the Heat to be in the 4-5 matchup as opposed to playing the Bucks in the 3-6 matchup. So, but we'll see what happens though in the playoffs.
It's going to be a rematch for last year's. The Bucks are going to be coming back for a vengeance, man.
And I do not feel as good as I did before this past Bucks Heat game. So, but we were without Jimmy Butler, but still, It wasn't a good way to end the season.
But my Knicks, they faced the Hawks. They've swept them in the regular season matchups. So
yeah, but this is a whole different ball game. The playoffs that means nothing.
Exactly. This entire season we've been having the rotation of a playoff rotation.
True. The offense has to.
In Thibodeau, I trust.
I have some things I want to say about Tom Thibodeau later on in the show.
I think I could guess. There's things you can't like. There's not a lot of negatives you can say about him this year.
No, he's in the Coach of the Year race. So.
Oh, absolutely.
I would honestly put him at the top of that right now.
I would too. It's between him and Monty Williams.
None of our viewers probably know this, but I made a bold prediction several weeks back, even more, that Tom Thibodeau was going to end up winning Coach of the Year as one of my bold predictions. And I don't know. What do you think about that?
That should be a sound clip right there. But yeah, guys, for me and Jett, this was originally the title Itz Gametime. This sports show was originally a radio show that we did on campus at our university that we attend to, the University of Tampa. And we had a really fun time doing this. And we decided that, you know what, how about we just turn this into a podcast for over the summer and for the foreseeable future, because obviously we're over online doing this over Zoom, and recording this because we're not in person. So and also the radio station isn't open because it's getting destroyed right now and being replaced. So
it's actually funny how like it evolved into this podcast, because like the first thing I heard about the radio show, Eric was telling about that he was starting the sports radio show. And I think I was texting him one day, and he might have like asked me if I wanted to be a guest on one of the shows. And I thought about it. I've always wanted to do like a podcast or some sort of like sports talk show, because I love talking about sports. And after I guests appeared on the radio show a couple times, and I came on as frequently as I was able to, and then now it's turning into the podcast, which I hope will be even bigger.
Oh yeah, it definitely will be, because we can promote it more so. And which, guys, the expectation, I hope we can stick to it as much as we can. The expectation is that we release a new episode every Tuesday and Thursday, because that's what we were able to do for the radio show. Obviously it's summer, so sometimes either maybe Jett will be on like a vacation and can't do it, or I'll be on a vacation and can't do it. But maybe, and we would be able to get replacements or guest appearances to take one of our spots if needed. But
it might not be as good though. That's the only thing.
Of course it won't, because I mean we're the two best personalities in the podcasting industry.
100%.
Obviously, I mean, come on. But the plan is every Tuesday and Thursday there will be a new episode that is released, in which obviously we're recording a day before. We're recording on a Monday and for the Tuesday's episode, and we're recording on a Wednesday for Thursday's episode. So we may be behind on some sports news, some big sports news, but don't worry. I mean, there's only a day gap between our first recording and our second recording. So if anything big happens in between that time period, we will definitely be able to get to it. It's just then that weekend, that nice big gap to gather some nice sports news and stuff like that. In which also another thing is that usually on the Tuesday episodes, I'll do more of the planning. It will be more of the topics that I decide, and then Jett gets Thursday's show also.
And also, just to everyone out there listening right now, we would love for you to follow our social media accounts.
Gosh,
on
social media manager of the year.
Oh yeah, I'm actually might be promoted to social media manager in my internship. So I think this might be a future for me, even though if I wasn't planning on it. But anyways, our Instagram, you can follow us at Itz Gametime. That's ITZ Gametime _ podcast on Instagram, as well as TikTok, where I'm going to get creative, and Eric will too. We're going to make some videos on TikTok and explore the different ways we can use TikTok and Instagram well to brand our podcast to attract more people.
Yes, in which let's get right to it. We've done the introductions, obviously, because it's the first episode. Let's get right into our first topic, or the main topic for today is obviously yesterday were the final NBA regular season games, and we talked about it a little bit with like my Knicks and Jets Heat, and then the Lakers also had a big game. The Clippers, Denver. I believe out of the 20 possible teams, that includes the actual playoff teams and the play-in teams, before Sunday there was only one team that had a exact seeding, and that was the 10 seeded Spurs. Wow. Every other seed did switch, but also had the potential to switch due to the results of yesterday's games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jazz locked up the 1 seed on the final day of the season. I mean, we don't see that often, like every year. So, I mean, that was pretty big.
Well, this brings into question of, do you enjoy the play-in?
I mean, I don't think it was a good idea to have the play-in games for this year, just because we were coming off such a short offseason from last year's mess with COVID and the Orlando bubble. But I think going forward in the future would be a good idea just to get some of the lower seeded teams involved to maybe potentially make a spark in the playoff run. I just think for this year to have these teams like the Lakers and Warriors have to play extra games with some of their stars battling injuries, it wasn't the smartest decision from that point of view. But from a financial point of view, with a Lakers-Warriors matchup in a playoff game, that's going to bring in a lot of money and a lot of ratings.
Exactly. I really enjoyed it for the purpose of it actually made I mean, it made the last day of the regular season one of the most important days in the entire regular season, which is very rare. And it wasn't just for like 4 to 5 different teams. It was for 19 out of the 20 possible teams for seeding wise, because even in the play-in, if you can get that 9 seed, that is huge. If you can get that 9 seed, because then you have 2 chances to get into the actual playoffs, in which then we saw that with the Wizards and the Hornets. The Wizards were the 9 seed. I'm sorry, I meant the 8 seed.
Yeah, it's
the Hornets were the 8 seed and the Wizards were the 9 seed, and then that switched because the Wizards beat the Hornets on the last day of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has like a little bit of an NFL type feel, like in the last day of the season, where like there's so many different things that can change and happen. So it's definitely has some positive. I just think for this season in particular, wasn't the smartest idea.
Yeah, in which what about if they did the play-in as though it was in the bubble, where I believe it was the 8 versus 9 seed to get that last seed? Like it was the 8th seed, and then the 9 seed had to face off. The 8 seed only had to win once, but the 9 seed had to win twice. And if the 9 seed won, then they became the 8 seed. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's a little bit better. But I mean, the thing with like the 7, because like the winner of the 7 and 8 seed is automatically the 7 seed, and then the loser plays the winner of the 9-10 game. It just adds extra games. I just think, like, I'm talking like this year, it's unnecessary because, like I said, with all the injuries we've seen this year due to the shortened schedules and shortened rest between games, I just think it wasn't a smart decision for this season.
Well, the thing is also is that I think they were able to do it all because it was only 72 games. If they go back to the 82, they definitely can't do this normal play-in, because then that just adds even more games onto these players' legs and fatigues them even more before actually the playoffs, talking about the 7 through 10 seed.
That's true. Yeah, I'm curious to see where you have some of these teams ranked in your power ranks. I know I've seen them already, but it'll be interesting to see what our viewers think of your rankings if you want to go start to explain how you constructed them.
Exactly. So my power rankings are this specific power ranking is based off of the team. If I were a team, Jett, if me and you were a team, all right, and we're in the playoffs, these are the teams I would least want to face going from 1 to 10. So number 1 being I just don't want to face them. Number 10 is, well, out of these 10, I'd want to face them the most. So it's not like a normal power rank, all the best team. Some of them are really hot right now. Some of them are kind of cold, cooling off a little bit, or they just don't have playoff experience, in which that's why they may be lower. But yeah, that's the order in which these power rankings that we're about to go through, that's how they were made up. It's not the normal power ranking.
Would you say it's kind of like how much confidence you have in like these teams from top to the?
I wouldn't say I know, because I mean I wouldn't say that. I think it's just like going into the playoffs. Let's say it's like a first round matchup. These are the teams that I would like from least to most wanting to face.
Gotcha. Okay.
So coming in at number 1 is not the Miami Heat. Sorry, Jett.
Come on.
Sorry. Nope.
It's my third favorite team, though.
Yeah, it is. It is the Los Angeles Clippers. Yes, the Clippers. That is Jett's probably third favorite team, I would have to say.
I guess just the way I talk about some of these NBA teams make it appear that they're some of my favorite teams, but in reality,
they definitely are. But the teams are the Clippers are the first team from the West that I would not want to face in these playoffs. And it may be surprising saying that they're the 4th seed, and having them over the Jazz and the Suns. But I think that if the Clippers didn't do as much load management as they did during the regular season, they would be the top seed in the West. I think easily, and I think maybe by like 5 games difference. Like the Jazz would be 5 games back from the Clippers if the Clippers just played their players like the Knicks did.
It's definitely possible. I mean, obviously we'll never know, but the Clippers have gone 23-11 since the All-Star break, which is 7th best in the league, but they are 4-6 in their last 10. So I mean, I do like them in this spot. I think they're definitely a team to like the threatening team in the playoffs for sure. And I do think they're going to go very far in these playoffs. So I like the number 1 slot for them. I definitely agree with this one.
Okay, hey, we're starting off good. A little agreement right here. Building that nice chemistry.
It's not gonna last.
But but they're, I mean, even with load management, they were only 4 games back from the top seed. And Jett, obviously you've been high on the Clippers almost like all season, I would have to say. Are you sticking pick for the Clippers?
I'm sticking with it. I'm not going to change it. I'm riding or dying with this Clippers team to not only make the finals, but win the finals.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Even if they face the Heat?
Well, obviously I would want the Heat to win that series, but we're not going to talk about that because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, because the Heat aren't going to make it there.
No, the Heat have a very good chance, but it's just unlikely.
Okay, so I have a which is more likely question for you.
Okay.
Which is more likely, Jett? Paul George having another disappointing playoff performance again, or the Clippers not making it to the Western Conference Finals?
Clippers not making it to the Western Conference Finals.
Wow.
I think Paul George is going to have an outstanding playoffs. I think this is the year that he finally proves all those haters wrong out there that just think he cannot get it done in the playoffs. He's had some issues with mentally the past few seasons, including last year. But I think like the Clippers have never won a finals, and like
Exactly.
their team's
That's my
history is
reasoning.
poor. So
Exactly.
that's just my opinion on that. What would you say to that?
I would say the same thing about the conference. Go with the conference finals, them not making it because they just have not shown that they are capable of doing it as an organization. Now, the Paul George, you said that he will be amazing in the playoffs. Do you think he will have better stats, or even by the eye test, perform better than Kawhi? You think?
Well, I did a later we're gonna get this like a top 10 players throughout the NBA playoffs, and I will tell you this right now that I do have Paul George higher than Kawhi in my list of top 10 players in this playoffs.
Okay. So I like that.
I won't give away where he is on that list. I'll get to that later, but I will tell you he is probably higher than you would expect.
Oh man. Oh God, I'm scared. But okay, so now I have an over under for you. Over under 3 series wins for the Clippers.
I mean, I gotta go with the over just because I'm continuing with these Clippers all the way. I mean, how could I say under to that? Okay. I truly not, but I honestly, even though it's very bold that I think they're going to win it all, I truly believe they have a very good shot. In large part due to a lot of the other teams just have some other issues that I think are going to affect them. But I mean, I do like the Clippers' chances a lot to get to the finals.
Okay, well, going into these playoffs over the past month, it's been like exactly a month since they have gone 8-6 over the past, and 4-3 against playoff and play-in teams. This is hard to judge, obviously, since they rest players for so often for the playoffs. So they could have done better, maybe not. We don't know. We got to take it as it is. What's good to see is that the Clippers are 21-17 against teams above a 500 winning percentage.
Yeah, and
obviously, I mean, they're 4 games above. What's concerning is that they are 3-4 in 3-point games.
They've also they've had an outstanding offensive year. They actually broke a record for 3-throw percentage in a season at 83.9%, which broke last year's Suns team at 83.4%. They also had the best 3-point percentage team in the league. They had a top 5 offensive rating and a top 10 defensive rating. So they definitely have what it takes to be a championship contender.
Okay, Jett, right now, are you a little delayed on me?
I'm a little delayed. That's why the viewers are probably saying, like, why was he talking over Eric? Come on, let him speak. But it wasn't intentional.
Okay, so hopefully the internet will figure itself
Unfortunately,
out.
Wi-Fi here in South Florida and in my neighborhood in particular is not very good. So
Okay, so I mean, everyone for notice. Okay, that in between me and Jett talking, there may be like a little bit of silence, but hopefully we'll be able to figure that out.
hopefully.
You seem to be like kind of not delayed anymore.
Maybe it got better. Who knows? Hopefully it stays like this the rest of the time.
Yes, cross our fingers. Cross our fingers. But I'm gonna move on to the second one now. Coming in at number 2 for the power rankings is the Brooklyn Nets. Jett, how do you feel about the Nets being number 2?
I like this one as well. I would definitely have Clippers and Nets. 1 or 2 you can probably interchangeably swap them, but I like them at the number 2 slot. There's just ones farther down your rankings that I totally disagree with.
But forewarning, 3 out of my top 4 teams in these rankings are from the East, surprisingly enough. And these 4 teams are teams that I think could have possibly the best chance at winning the championship for this year. So it's actually kind of impressive. When you usually talk about basketball, usually the West Coast dominates in like having the better teams. But for me, 3 out of the 4 top teams are coming from the East. So do you think that we are slowly seeing like a change in the quality of teams from like the West seemingly always having the best teams just quantity wise compared to the East?
I mean, like when I look at the top like 10 teams in both conferences, I still give the edge to the West. I think we're discounting what the Suns and Jazz did maybe a little too much.
Okay.
Because I mean you could argue that like, you know, the Jazz with Donovan Mitchell, they're a big threat to go to the finals and win, but that's a big question mark. So I can understand why you don't have them higher. Same thing with the Suns, they're inexperienced, but I still would give the edge to the West in regards to talent level and like overall team differences between the East and the West. I give the edge to the West.
Okay. The Knicks have finally put it together. The big 3 are back. Jett, you were absolutely wrong about your prediction that they would never play together.
It was bold, okay? It's like all my predictions, they're bold, and I wasn't expecting this to happen. But why not say it? And why not? Like, I wanted a pat on the back if I was right. So,
well, you're not getting that pat now. But the worry is that they really haven't played with a full roster like the entire season.
do you know how many games the big 3 have played together this year?
Is it 8?
They've played 8 games, yeah, and it's only been
let's go.
it's been only 202 minutes together. I mean, I saw this stat today that there hasn't been a team with their 3 leading scorers who have played fewer than 10 games together who have won a championship.
Well, then maybe the first to do it.
Maybe. We'll see. It's definitely possible. They do have what it takes.
He could get in the way of that.
I think they could. I do. Maybe we'll see that in my predictions later on.
Oh my gosh. I think that if they can cruise through the first round and then win the second round, I think that they're going to become the team to beat. I think they will take over the number 1 spot. Like they can't like struggle in the rounds. Like they can't struggle to get to the conference championship. I need them to cruise through the first and like win it in 5 to 6 games in the second round to me think like they're the team to beat.
Well, they'll be able to stack all the minutes up together with the big 3 to get their chemistry back to where it is. So hopefully they'll be ready to go to compete with whoever they play in the conference finals and potentially the finals.
Okay, here's which is more likely, Jett, for you. Which is more likely? Kyrie deciding to stop playing in the playoffs at some point, or the Nets not making it past the second round of the playoffs.
I think it's more likely that the Nets don't make it past the second round. I don't think Kyrie is going to just stop playing, even though the way he talks sometimes.
Yeah.
I know probably. Are you referencing his previous press conference? He was talking a lot of like how basketball's not. I get like what he's saying, like basketball isn't important in some instances, but like sometimes just feels like he's totally not into the game. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
for me, I completely support like the social movements that he's backing and wants to be a part of, and I would not hate him at all if he just stopped playing basketball and just moved on to doing that, because obviously that is way more important than basketball. It's just, I think he just can't be like wishy-washy on like, oh, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks and I'm going to do social justice work for like 2 weeks and not play basketball, but then go back to playing basketball. Just for himself, I want him to put whatever he chooses. I want him to put the most energy into that, all of his energy into whatever he chooses to do. I'm not going to hate him for whatever choice he makes, but I don't think it's fair to himself having to juggle this challenging thing that he's of playing basketball and then also fighting against social injustice. But it's either it at some point he should just make the decision of one or the other. I'm in the sense of like his biggest interest or his biggest attention. He's focusing his most attention on. I don't want him to choose basketball and just completely give up on social injustice fighting. It's just like, what is he most focused on? Because right now it seems as though he's like indecisive of which one he thinks deserves more attention.
I mean, I don't think like this has impacted him at all on the court. I mean, he had a remarkable season. Yeah. He actually joined the 50, 40, 90 club, the 9th player to do so. He actually joins Larry Bird, Curry, KD as the only players to be in that club while averaging 25 or more points per game. So he definitely didn't like lose a step on the court. It's just like, I mean, he could end up, I don't think he's going to walk away mid playoffs or anything like that, just because it would be such a letdown to not only KD and Harden, but the rest of the team, because they want to build something in Brooklyn. So I don't think, if anything, he would walk away at the end of a season. Maybe.
I really want him to make a decision, and I would stand by whatever decision he makes. I just hope he does it at some point. But here's another over-under. Over-under 7 30-point performances by both Harden and Durant in the same game during the playoffs.
That's tough. I'm gonna say the under.
Okay. What would you pick for the under?
I would say like 4 or 5.
Okay.
I think 7's maybe a little too much, just because you still have to also get Kyrie involved, and like, I mean, you have 3 of the best scorers in the league on one team. It's gonna be hard to be able to have that duo put up 30 in a lot of those games, especially against some of the top defenses now in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I like that. I was like, ooh, what could I? I thought 7 may have been too high when I set that, but I was like, you never know with Harden and Durant. I mean, Kyrie is definitely out of the 3 the one that would take the backseat to this the scoring.
Definitely, I do like these over-unders and more likely questions. I like them a lot. We got to continue this every episode like this.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. But over the past month, they have gone 10-6. They went 5-5 though against playoff and play-in teams during the stretch. A little concerned that 5 out of their 6 losses were against those types of teams. I don't know. I mean, they just got Durant and Harden back, so maybe. But to combat that, though, that stat, they are 23-13 this season against teams above 500.
Wow. And that's like without some of their best players in a lot of these games too, which is crazy to think about.
I mean, that is really good, but they are only 5-3 in 3-point games, but they're 24-11 in 10-point games. So they're either blowing you out or barely losing close games.
Well, a lot of that has to do like their defense. They have the 23rd ranked defensive rating in the league, which shows that if there's going to be a way for them to be beat, it's going to be opposing teams figuring out a great offensive game plan to pick apart
Yeah.
their defense that is pretty much lackluster the whole season.
But the thing is their offensive rating is first. So, I mean, that's hard to beat. I mean, it's hard to go toe to toe constantly. Yeah, I think it's more of planning a great defensive game. They're like the 8th. They're like the 23rd. They're 23rd in defensive rating. So obviously, your offense can score. It's more about stopping their offense.
I mean, it is an offensive first league, so I mean,
True.
sometimes
true.
offense will win championships, even though that's not the saying.
Yeah. Do you got anything more for the Brooklyn Nets?
No, I'm curious to hear more about this third team that you have.
Coming in at number 3 is the Milwaukee Bucks.
See, now I just do the fact, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Bucks have not had a ton of success in the playoffs, which is why that I would be hesitant to put them this high on the list. But if we're purely basing it off of how they've played the last handful of games in the regular season, they are a threatening team in the playoffs. And if they can figure out a way to get it done, I mean, I think a lot of it's going to be Drew Holiday is a big difference maker in this playoffs. So I think they could make it happen. I mean, they were my bold prediction on the radio show to make it to the finals. However, I don't know if I'll be able to stick with that just because of their first round matchup.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Conflicting interests right there. But Jett, you also said during the radio show that when you made that bold prediction that the Bucks would represent the East in the finals, you said that the Bucks are on a mission to prove people like me that I've doubted them. I have that they can finally perform in the playoffs. That's the big criticism around them. That's why people may think, why do you have them at 3? They have done awful in the playoffs, and I get that. I wouldn't say that they're playing with house money because I don't think they're being overlooked, but I mean, their expectations, they a little bit of house money. Yeah, I would say that. Because not many are expecting them to get to the finals or even the Eastern Conference Finals.
I do think, though, maybe for the majority of the season up to this point, they were a little bit overlooked just because, we have Brooklyn with their big 3 back together. You got emerging teams like the Hawks and the Knicks. And
the Knicks, yeah.
There's just not a lot to say, like flashiness about the Bucks just because, they didn't have, I would say, like up to their normal standards. They were first past 2 years at the end of the regular season. So, I mean, Giannis has a lot to prove this playoffs. I think he has the most pressure among players, not only in the Eastern Conference, but total, like all the players in the playoffs. I think he has the most to lose from not performing well in these playoffs.
And how do you think he'll perform in the playoffs? Do you think he'll break out finally?
It's tough for me to answer this question because I do think he's going to break out. It would be at the expense of my Heat, obviously, but I do, like, deep down, I do think that he's going to break out and he is going to be able to lead the team deep into the playoffs, if not all the way to the finals.
Okay, nice. So over this last month, they've gone 11-6 during the regular season, which is one of the top records for contenders over this past month. They beat the Sixers and the Knicks twice, both teams twice. They're 8-4 against teams either in the playoffs or in the play-in games. I mean, 8-4. I mean, that's highly impressive. That's not like something just foo-foo on.
But the question is, are they a regular season team only?
Exactly. The thing is, for the season, they're only 19-17 against teams 500 and above. So
I feel like a lot of those games might have come when Giannis was out. I don't know, like the breakdown of that, but I mean, it's definitely something to look at. I mean, the thing is, though, the playoffs are basically a whole new season, so it's good to look at those kinds of numbers, but it could be either the total opposite or the exact same thing come playoff time.
Yeah, exactly. Over under 2 series wins in the playoffs for the Bucks.
So I'm going to. I know we didn't do our predictions series by series yet, but just I want to stick with the I want to be consistent with my predictions. So I'm going to say under, which kind of
Under.
gives you a little
Okay.
foreshadowing of
Because-
where I foresee the Bucks.
Yes, because if they win, they would most likely have to face the Nets.
Right, and that's going to be a good series. I just
Hopefully that ends up like that.
that would be nice if it. I actually wouldn't be nice. It would be nicer if the Heat were in it.
Yes, but coming in at number 4 is the top seed in the East. Coming in at number 4? What?
Yeah, what is going on right now?
What?
They're the number 1 seed in the East, and you have them behind the Bucks, who are the number 3 seed in the East, and you have them behind the Nets too. What is this?
What is going on? It is the Philadelphia 76ers. If it's not the Bucks who are the hottest team in the league, then it's the Sixers who have who had an 8-game winning streak at the end of April and beginning of May. So I mean, that was like 2 weeks away, 2 weeks ago that they were fantastic. Jett, there was a moment though that your prediction of the 76ers winning the conference by 5 games, but they barely acquired the top seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously very bold. I mean, I was hoping that it was going to turn out that way, but it's just tough when those are 2 unbelievable teams that were both wanting that number 1 seed so badly that it just the lead couldn't be expanded upon.
Exactly. I think many people think that they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I personally think if they don't, failure of a season.
I mean, they do have a very nice path to get there. Not saying like the Knicks or Hawks or whoever the 7-8 seed is bad, but like better than the Nets road to the finals.
Nets or the Bucks or even possibly the Heat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the conference is very top heavy. I mean,
very top heavy. That's why I still give the edge conference like overall to the West, but like from a top heaviness perspective, that you probably give the edge to the East in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, there's really only 3 contenders in the East, if we want to be honest about it. Do you think that if Embiid did not get injured for the time frame that he did during the season, do you think he would have won MVP?
Yes, I do.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
Well, you got to look at it this way. I mean, if Embiid is playing the whole season and they are also the number 1 seed in the East and he's continuing to play at a high level, putting up the numbers, I mean,
I'll be honest. I'll be honest right now. I mean, I don't think he's going to win MVP. Obviously, I have Jokic as number 1. I don't even have him at number 2.
Why? I mean, it's tough because I saw this stat today about like Curry, and you take him off the team and it's a total disaster. They're like the worst offensive team in the league. When Curry's not playing, the Warriors have the 5th worst historical offense. Yeah.
I mean, that is Curry. I mean, possibly Curry should just deserve MVP. I don't think he's going to get it, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think it will be closer than expected.
But it's hard to win an MVP when your team's not among the top teams in their respective conference.
Though. But look what he's working with here. He has Draymond that can't shoot. He has Wiggins that is inconsistent as hell.
But I feel like you gotta like break like records in order for like if you look at like Russell Westbrook's season when he won MVP, when he broke the triple double in a season, I think it was. Like that's like bad, but
he won the scoring title.
He did. I think isn't he the oldest player
he joins the crew of it's the 2-2-2 club. It's winning 2 scoring titles, 2 MVPs and 2 titles. It is Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Steph Curry.
Wow.
Dude,
that's insane.
I mean, this was his best career statistical season. Like better than his unanimous MVP season.
Some players just get better with age. It's
But I mean, his game, it doesn't require. I mean, he can. It's long lasting.
oh yeah.
When he plays, he'll be able to. I don't know how old he is, but I mean, he'll be able to play till like his mid to late 30s. This style of game.
Do you think he finishes his career with the Warriors?
No.
I agree.
Actually, can I say?
Yeah.
He's going to give it one more season next season with Clay. If they don't get a top 6 seed, hell, even a top 5 seed, he's out. If they do, he'll stay because, I mean, the city obviously loves him. He loves the city. And honestly, not many players appreciate him as much as like some should. I don't know if many would want to play with him because there's players that I do not get this. There's players that would rather play with Russell Westbrook than Steph Curry.
Yeah, that's just like ignorant. But I mean,
That's
I'm a fan of Russell Westbrook, but
yeah.
Curry, there's no question. There's no like question about that.
I guess it's just because of the effort Westbrook puts in, but I mean, as a teammate, I want Curry all day.
Curry brings titles. Westbrook doesn't.
Exactly. I mean, you never know. I mean, these Wizards, man, that duo of.
Wait to see where I have the Wizards going in my predictions.
Oh gosh, hopefully a first round exit, not even first round.
We'll see.
Play-in exit. But over under 3 series wins for the Sixers.
I'm gonna say under.
Okay. Let me lower it. Let me lower it.
Okay.
2 series wins.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be less than 2. Then I would say over for that, but
Okay.
it's tough. That's a tough one.
Okay. But they were 10-6 over the past month. What makes the record not look so good? They had a 4-game losing streak. They're 3-6 against playoff and play-in teams over the past month, which is a little concerning. And they're also only 19-17 against teams above 500 this month. So that's that. I think right there, that's a big reason why they're kind of low at the moment.
Gotcha. I just have a quick question. Besides, obviously, Embiid's importance to the team is great, but who do you think is more important after him, Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris? If they want to like make it to the finals, who's more important?
Ben Simmons all the way because I mean he's a defensive player of the year candidate right now. Take him off. I mean, right now they have the second best defensive rating in the entire league. Take him off, I bet that drops down to like 7 or 8. And honestly, I mean, but the thing is, their offense isn't even that great. It's their defense is what got them that seed. They have the 13th best offensive rating. So I think if you take Simmons off, I mean, how much did he even contribute offensively?
Very little. I mean,
he contributed so much defensively. I mean, Harris is more of the offensive side, but that only got them to the 13th best. So I think that if you take Simmons off, it hurts them more.
The only counterpoint to that I would say is if Tobias Harris does not show up throughout the playoffs, like obviously we're assuming Ben Simmons is going to show up and be his normal self, but I think like whether Tobias Harris shows up or not can play a big factor in how far they go as well.
I mean, I think he can. I mean, he carried the team when Embiid was injured, and so was Simmons. I mean, he carried that team. I remember like they were somehow on a winning streak and beating these good teams. I was in denial of it. I do remember that.
Oh yeah, very very in denial. I was on this 76ers wagon from the beginning.
Oh yeah, guys, this is Jett's second favorite team.
Yes, it goes Heat, 76ers, then Clippers.
If you didn't know from the reaction of having them at 4. But we done with the Sixers?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go to number 5.
Number 5. This may tick some people off. But hey, it's the Los Angeles Lakers. Wow. It's the Lakers.
I don't know about this one.
people are probably like, Eric, what are you doing, man? What
And
the heck are you
I
doing?
agree with all those people. I think this is
Ugh.
idiotic of you to put the Lakers here.
What is this? Is this my nice bold prediction right here?
I mean, the Lakers are gonna have such a tough road to even like.
Exactly. Yeah, this is gonna be this. This is gonna possibly be LeBron's title win to make it that far.
First of all, I don't see them repeating. I'm just gonna say this now. I just think it's too tough of a task, too tall of a task, even with LeBron and AD. It's just not gonna be easy, and I don't think they get it done.
Ooh, hey, healthy now. They gotten healthy, and
Are
guess what?
they healthy though? Are they really?
Healthy. They're healthy. You know why? Because they're hot. They're hot. They've won 5 straight in the going into the playoffs. They're hot. They're healthy. They're ready to roll. They don't care who they face. LeBron said that. They don't care. They don't care. Doesn't matter.
Oh God.
But Jett, how would you react if I were to tell you that the Lakers would not even be a top 4 seeded team for the playoffs at the beginning of the season? What would your reaction would have been?
I would have said you're crazy, and you already are. But I would have said it again.
Oh my gosh. Are we finally some wear and tear on Braun? Is this his 17th?
I think so.
Do you think we're finally seeing some wear and tear on him?
Yeah, we're getting to that point where, I mean, he's definitely going to play a handful more seasons, and I still think he could be productive. It's just a matter of he might be load managing more often than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, in which here's a more likely for you, all right? Which more likely? LeBron being injured in the playoffs.
I only heard the first part of that, so can you repeat the second?
Okay. LeBron or Davis getting injured in the playoffs?
Probably. I mean, it's tough. Like, who can predict injuries? But I would say LeBron.
Really?
Just because he's older. I mean, I don't think he would necessarily like sit out many games. He might try to play through, depending on the injury. But I do think we're going to see some. Like, no one wants to see this, but I do think we're going to see some injury issues throughout the playoffs, and possibly some stars being affected. I know no one wants to see this or hear about it, but it's just the reality of the kind of season we've been playing.
Okay. Over under 2 series wins for this year.
Over.
Okay.
I gotta admit, as much as I dislike this placement of the Lakers in your rankings, I do have them going relatively far. Yes.
They have gone 8-9 over the past month, but they're on a 5-game winning streak. They're hot. They're hot. They may be the hottest team in the NBA.
Well, you gotta have a good offense too. They're in the bottom half of the league in offensive rating.
Hey. In LeBron, I trust, my friend.
What about everyone around LeBron and
AD? Kuzma can do his thing off the bench.
Well, just listen to this stat. So their 3-point shooting has been awful. They're 25th in threes per game. They're 12-11 when the team makes fewer than 10 threes. 30-19 when making 10 or more. Obviously, it's a offensive driven league, a 3-point driven league. So usually when the team makes more 3-pointers, that team is most likely going to win.
But gosh, there's 2 sides of the ball though, man. They're the best defensive rated team in the league. They are amazing on defense. I mean, in opponents' field goals, they rank 9th. In opponents' 3-point percentage, they ranked 4th. In efficient field goal percentage, the opponent's efficient field goal percentage, they ranked 5th best. They're 2nd best in opponents' points per game, and they're 4th best in opponents' turnovers per game. I mean, they're amazing on defense.
They are. It's just not going to be easy to go far in the playoffs. I think if they're
hey, defense wins championships.
It does, but the thing is, though, on top of the fact that I know this isn't a typical year where like 7 and 8 seeds aren't sometimes your normal 7 and 8 seeds as we're seeing this year, but they have not fared well in the playoffs. There's only been 2 7 or 8 seeds that have reached the conference finals, and only one has reached the finals. And I think if they're going to get knocked out of the playoffs, it's going to be earlier than we expect.
I don't know. We'll see.
Why not catch the Lakers when they're not at full strength yet? They like.
Oh yeah, I would say that. Like you got to get them out early.
Like if they end up having to play the Suns, like the Suns would have a very good chance.
I don't know. Okay, so speaking of, they can come in at my 6th spot for my rankings.
No, this is a good placement for them.
Yeah. Okay. For the 5 and 6, I think that they could make the finals. I don't know if they could win the finals. Maybe that's how I ruled in. I really like the Suns. I really enjoy watching the Suns play. They have had a great regular season due to them being a young team, and they care. And usually, younger teams care more about getting wins in the moment than rather playing the long game, like saving energy for the playoffs, like the Clippers do. I mean, the Clippers are an extreme example, but the Clippers don't have an opposite motto regular season. That being said, there are times that younger teams have nothing to lose, and they will just play with house money and end up going pretty far. I wouldn't be surprised if the Suns end up being this year's Heat from last season.
I like that a lot. I mean, it's interesting to see. I mean, because you could kind of compare the teams in regards to playoff experience wise. I mean, Jimmy Butler was pretty much the only main guy that did have a lot of playoff experience, where you could compare him to kind of like Chris Paul in a way. And it's definitely a good comparison.
So here's more likely they lose in the first round, or they make it to the Western Conference Finals.
Did you say the first round or the third round? I didn't hear you.
First round.
Okay. I think it's more likely they lose in the first round.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of who they potentially were going to have to play.
Yeah. So over under 2 series wins in the play.
I'm going to say under, just going consistent with my theme.
Wow. Okay.
You're kind of getting a good idea of where I have some of these teams going.
I'm getting a little feeler out. What's over this past month, they have gone 12 and 6. They've gone out of those 18 games, they have gone 10 and 6 against playoff and play-in teams. This is big. This is not something to just pass over, because they've, out of the past 18 games, they've only played 2 games against teams not in the playoffs or even the play-ins. For the past month, they have been facing playoff level teams more so than anybody else.
You're kind of convincing me that maybe I should have had the Suns go a little farther, just on all this stuff you're saying about them. It's hard just because I love the comparison to the Heat. It's just the experience thing will play a big factor. And if they have to play someone like the Lakers, I don't know if I would feel comfortable choosing the Suns.
Yeah. What's also great to see is that they are 27 and 11 against teams above a 500 winning percentage throughout the season. They're also 9 and 3 in 3-point games.
Their clutch ratings with a lot of their players are like in the top half of the league. Chris Paul is, I know, in the top half of the league in clutch ratings, so that plays a big role in it.
Yeah. So, you have anything more to say about the Suns?
No, that's it. We should be interesting to see how far they end up going.
Exactly. Coming in at number 7 is the top seed in the West.
What are we doing again with the top seed so low in your rankings?
What are we Oh my gosh, Eric, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
Hey, man.
Explain. I want to hear this.
Okay. It's the Utah Jazz, if you didn't know. It may, like I said, maybe a little weird, right? But hey, different things aren't all the worst, okay? I think they're just an amazing regular season team. What really hurts their chances, what really knocks them down to 7 in my rankings, that Mitchell been out for what will be a month long until he plays again, will be the playoff. Mitchell is their team, especially in the playoff. I mean, I don't know if you, but last in the bubble, I mean, he was going off. I mean, if they didn't have Mitchell, there's no way that they would have been close in any sort of way.
I mean, the only thing is they were able to maintain the top seed in the West without Mitchell and secure the number 1 seed. So
regular season, man, regular season.
I get that, but if they were able to, like, if they can figure out a way to pick up the slack without him, I don't know if they can do it, but I mean, I don't think people realize how important Donovan Mitchell is. Like, I know you realize it, but like most people out there.
How do you think he will come back on a scale of 1 to 10? How well do you think he will come back in the playoffs? 10 being the most confident, 1 being least confident.
I'd say like a 6.
Okay.
I don't know. It's any injury. It's tough. I mean, I don't know if he'll be able to, like, I mean, he's gonna have to play like a high level, and I don't know if he'll be able to play at that high level that they need him to be at.
Yeah. So here's an over/under for you. All right. 6.5, over under 6.5, 30-point games for Mitchell when he comes back for the playoffs.
I'm gonna say under.
Under for what? Like, what are you calling on? What are you gonna call for?
Half that. I would go like 3.
Okay.
First of all, I don't know how many games they're gonna even be in the playoffs for, and I don't know. I mean, first of all, the Jazz actually do better when Donovan Mitchell takes fewer shots.
Yes.
I think I saw a stat. They're 1-6 when he shoots when he has 25 or more field goal attempts in a game, which, you know, makes sense. But if he just has to be more efficient if he does come back and continues to play it the way he has been all season.
Yeah, I remember talking about it and how I was saying that looking over the stat lines for Mitchell in games before he got injured, I was like, he's shooting the ball a lot and not shooting it at a high clip either. But hey, we'll see and stuff. Thing to point out is that also I'll let you go right after too. They're 0-3 in overtime.
Ooh. That's not a really good thing, because I don't really think they have, like, I know Donovan Mitchell, but like
they don't have a closer.
They don't have a closer. But what I was gonna say is, like, they've been relying like heavily on their 3-point shots.
Yes.
They broke a record actually for most field goals made per game at 16.7. They actually have the fewest mid-range shots per game in the league.
Wow.
So, I mean, if they get hot, though, like behind the arc, it could take them far.
Yes. I mean, they have the 4th best offensive rating in the league. They also have the 4th best defensive rating in the league too. So, I mean, they're a good offense and defensive team.
And they have 2 guys coming off the bench that are in the 6th man of the year conversation, and Clarkson and Ingles, that have provided some much needed help in Mitchell's absence.
Yes, but now coming in at number 8, the Denver Nuggets.
Okay, finally, we're at another good placement in these rankings. It took a while, but we're back.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets are kind of being forgotten about. If only they had Jamal Murray.
That's the difference, honestly, in with their chances. It's just Jamal Murray's the difference.
I mean, imagine how stacked this playoff would be if Murray was with the Nuggets.
Who do you think, though? Like, I know it's unlikely, but if they were to make a run, who do you think needs to step up the most between these 3 guys? Michael Porter, Will Barton, and Aaron Gordon.
Will Barton. I think Porter is doing a fantastic job so far. I couldn't ask for much more from him. I mean, isn't this his second season, actual season, like playing season?
It might be a little more than that, but it's definitely a smaller number. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't ask for too much. I mean, I think Barton and Gordon just doesn't really have the game, the play style of today's game. But so I would have to say Will Barton would have to step up. It sucks that they don't have Gary Harris anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That hurts. I mean, but also, I mean, last playoffs when they went to the Western Conference Finals, Harris didn't even play. He was injured for that entire time.
Right. Yeah.
So, but man, Jokic, man, I've loved him since the start. He's probably going to win MVP. I mean, it's insane. I think the big thing about him, if he was a guard, I think Curry would have won it over him, but it's because he's a big man. It's because he's a center. He has a total of 16 triple doubles this season. He's 11th in points per game, 9th in rebounds per game, and 6th in assists per game. He's also first in player efficiency rating.
He's also the best player in the league while being double teamed. He averages 1.5 points per possession when double teamed, which is I found that remarkable just to like think about. Like he's been insane. There's no other words to describe it.
Okay, over under 4.5 triple doubles by Jokic in this year's playoffs. Over by how much?
Just I'll say 5, just because I don't like. I'm not talking like some crazy number, but I will say this: I do have him in the top 10 of my NBA players for the playoffs. So I'll get to that a little bit later, like I said, but he did make the top 10.
Yes. In which coming in at number 9. Yes, Jett is pointing to it right now.
I really got to take this off my wall.
Oh, no, you don't. You can mail it to me. I'll put it to good use.
I actually, really quick, I remembered how I got it. I think I got it from a basketball camp. I think I won it, and I guess I just decided to put it on my wall.
You won something in a basketball camp?
Yes, surprisingly I did.
What? Are you sure it wasn't like some type of participation thing?
Well, no, I've gotten
Obviously, the Knicks weren't good at
I've
that
gotten
time.
like most improved at like these camps and stuff, but I think from this I actually won like one of the competitions, which I probably will never be able to do again, even now. So yeah.
But yes, coming in at number 9 are my New York Knicks. Knicks tape. Oh, they're finally back. The Knicks are back.
Oh, took this long.
Hey, doesn't matter. They're back. We ain't gonna talk about the time frame, all right? They're top 4. They're top 4, baby. Top 4 record in the East for the first time since 2012 and 2013. Man, absolutely nobody thought they would even be close to making it in the playoffs or even getting the 4th seed in the East to host a playoff series.
I think the Knicks believed they could get here.
The Knicks did, of course. I mean,
I would hope they did.
Their motto is 15 man. No, the Big 15. Instead of like the Big 3, it's the Big 15.
I like that better than Big 3.
Oh yeah. Julius Randle has been absolutely incredible for this season, and I personally think that he deserves to be top 5 in MVP.
I was just going to say that I think he's definitely going to get some MVP votes, and we already know he's taking home most improved. So.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be an all-NBA team.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
I think all-NBA third team is for sure. It's that second team that I'm like, ooh.
I do think he's going to get second team. I do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The players I would have behind him are in this order of MVP is Jokic, Curry, Embiid, Giannis, and then him.
That's exactly how I would put it too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember many people and Knicks fans just at the beginning of the season wanting to trade him because he obviously last season was not that good. I mean, the steps he's taken are incredible.
Where did this come from? Do you think like Tom Thibodeau had a lot to do with this, or he just found another level to his game?
I think Tom Thibodeau pushed him and stuff like that, and actually made him work on his craft. And like
that shows like he deserves Coach of the Year, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the roster is not that much different from last season. So, and And the only change really was the coaching and the coaching staff.
And the front office, they made some changes.
Yes. World Wide West. Oh yeah.
Yes.
But I also think that the Knicks were one of, if not the biggest storyline in the league this year, even over Brooklyn's Big Three.
Oh, definitely. I mean, due to honestly, it has a lot to do with that they are in New York and people like were waiting for this. When is this going to happen? When are they going to turn it around? And now that it's finally here, like everyone wants to talk about it just because it's such a good story.
Exactly. When the Knicks are good, the NBA is good. I mean, that's not even like a Knicks fan saying it. Like that is just like kind of, I mean, they're the most, like on the Forbes list, they're the most valued, they're the highest valued NBA.
Oh yeah.
Guys.
And they're also, I mean, they're still one of the most storied franchises they're still New York. I mean, they have a good history. It's not like.
Exactly. All right. Over under 0.5 series wins in the playoffs.
Over. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do think they'll beat the Hawks. But other than that, it's gonna be tough.
Hey, I'll be ecstatic.
I know you will. Yeah, I mean, like they defensively, like
they're insane.
Like if they can figure out, I mean, I know if they would have to play Philadelphia, they're both pretty much defensive centric teams. So I don't know, just whoever had the better offense would win that series. So.
Yeah, I like their chances against the Hawks. I mean, they're arguably the best defensive team in the league. And they swept the series against them. And also Knicks have a 2.13 SRS, which is a simple rating system. That's 11th in the entire league, in which a 0 is the average. And compared to the Nets have a 4.24. They're not that far off from the Nets. And like, obviously the Nets are a better eye test wise.
The only other thing is like a lot of these teams is playoff experience. Knicks starters have only played a total of 16 playoff games. And going back to what you said about defensively we were talking about. So the Knicks lead the league. They led the league in points allowed per game at 104.7, the best. The last time this happened was 2000, and Tom Thibodeau was an assistant on that team.
Yes. The Tibbs effect.
Yes, it's a huge effect.
Pretty much double the effect. But coming in at number 10 is the Miami Heat.
Yes, finally we get some recognition on the Heat. I know you're not always on the Heat wagon like I am, but they deserve to be in the top 10.
They are. The main reason for the Heat being in my last spot is because they're the defending Eastern Conference champs, and they have shown that they can flip a switch in the playoffs. How do you feel about the Heat's performance this year after going to the finals last season?
I really want them to be able to prove that bubble season last year was not just a fluke. I know they can do it. It's not going to be easy, especially having to play the Bucks second year in a row in the playoffs, who are out for blood and they do not want to lose again in the playoffs to them. But like, I know for a fact the 76ers did not want to see the Heat. That's why they, obviously probably happy now that they don't have to be in the 4-5 matchup. Same thing with the Knicks. I'm sure you didn't want to play the Heat. We're a scary team. I mean,
oh yeah, so scary.
Oh, we are. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun series against the Bucks. I do think we pull that out, but it has been a very rough season. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but the Heat run on Jimmy. So
the Heat run on Jimmy. Over under 1 series wins for the Heat.
Over.
Oh my gosh.
No. No, it's under, but it's right at 1.
This is a perfect push.
Yeah, it's a push, but as much as I would like to see them go back to the finals, it's going to be tough, and I want to say they do it, but for this sake of the show and me not being an idiot sometimes, I'm gonna say they did not make it.
What is concerning, what's becoming more concerning is the fact that the Heat have not won one overtime game this season. They're 0-4. They are one of 5 teams. Only the Heat and Jazz have not won an overtime. That those 2 teams are in the playoffs. They're the only ones out of all the playoff teams that haven't won an overtime game yet.
But like, how much weight do you really hold into that? Because I mean, first of all, you have to get to overtime. I think it would be more of a thing to see like where they are in relation to closing time. Because I mean, Jimmy's a closer, but like he's not a unbelievable closer. Like you can count on him, but he's not always going to be able to knock down those shots, especially beyond the arc.
Yeah, but you want to get to your top 10 players?
Yeah, I can do that.
My
Yeah,
top 10 rankings, guys.
Yeah,
You enjoy it. I know. I mean, they were perfect. I mean, there's no argument against.
They were good. They had some flaws like most of your rankings, but like in most rankings, there's some good things and bad things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the Heat deserve to be at 10.
Just wait for these rankings right here. This is about to get insane right now. This is like I'm probably going off the wall on most of these rankings. but like when I made these top 10 players, I kind of like a lot of it's based on how far I think these teams are going to go. Because obviously they're going to be playing more games than some of the players that aren't going as far. So I'll just start us off really quickly. So my number 1 player, actually I'll start at number 10. Why not? Let's work our way up.
Bottom to top.
So the 10th best player throughout the playoffs that I think it's going to be Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
He is part of obviously the big 3 on the Nets, and he will sometimes be the third option just because Harden and KD are better players.
Yes.
But do you think Kyrie should even be included on my top 10?
Let me look through the teams. Top 10. It's questionable. Depends on.
But let me. I think there's a little bit of confusion. This is who I think are going to be the top 10 players at the end of the playoffs. Like once it's wrapped up, like who I think are be the top 10 performing players.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so because I feel like he's just going to get more run than some other guys.
Okay, so now coming in number 9 is Nikola Jokic.
That's so low. That's so low.
I don't think it's low because I don't know how far they're gonna be able to go.
I don't care. I think he's gonna seize his opportunity, and I think he's gonna do everything possible to win. And I don't think they're gonna go extremely far, but that's low. That's low. I'm gonna start counting how many players I think are like should be below him out of these next.
I don't think it's low because I don't have the Nuggets going. I don't have the Nuggets making it that far.
I know, but I think he's just gonna go off while doing it.
But when we look back at the playoffs, we're not gonna think about Nikola Jokic's performances through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs when there's someone who's made it all the way to the finals who had a much more standout postseason.
You telling me if he doesn't drop 5 triple doubles in like one series, like if he drops 5 triple doubles in like let's say 6 games, I'm totally gonna be able to look back on that.
I mean, you might be able to look back on it, but it's gonna be overshadowed by whoever's in the finals and and conference finals.
All right, let's see these next 8.
You're not gonna like this one, but it's a little biased, and I just think he's going to carry them as far as they hopefully will go. But number 8 is Jimmy Butler.
Oh, that is awful.
It's not awful.
That's shit. That is shit.
I mean,
dude, you have Butler over Jokic
because I have the Heat going farther than the Nuggets.
Oh my god,
that's a lot. Yes, Jimmy was unbelievable in the playoffs last season.
I'm not debating that.
So why not again? Jokic has very limited playoff experience.
Jokic has very limited help around him.
I get that. But like a lot of this has to do with the team they're on and how far they're going to go.
This is so bad.
It gets better. Don't worry. It gets better.
Yeah, move on. I don't even want to like talk about that anymore.
You're probably gonna hit this one too.
That's one. What are you gonna say, Tyler Hero?
No, that's it for Heat players.
Thank you. Jeez.
But yeah, notable admission from the list is Bam Adebayo. But anyways, people are gonna probably hate me for this. Probably say it's too low. Number 7 is LeBron James.
Oh my god.
I just don't. No. I don't want to hear it. Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes. That's awful.
Obviously,
That's
LeBron
awful.
James is the best player in the league, and obviously he's going
That
to
is
have
awful.
it. You got to think about this. Like this is the top 10 players in the playoffs. Like
Exactly. That is awful. That's awful.
just on where I had the Lakers going, and he's
Awful.
not even going to be the best player on his team throughout the postseason, and he's dealing with injury issues. So
Awful. Awful.
okay,
Gosh.
number 6 is Joel Embiid.
Okay. I mean, I can't say that's too low yet because I don't know who's above him. So that's just like foreseeable. It's good right now. I'd have him above. I wouldn't have him over LeBron.
No, I mean, not saying that LeBron is going to have a bad postseason, but this is just what I feel based on what we've seen in the past, like this season, obviously. But I don't know. I'm just hesitant to say that the Lakers will be able to perform at the level that we're expecting them to.
Okay. Okay.
But number 5 is Kevin Durant.
Okay, that's fine. I like that. I would have Kevin above everyone.
Yeah, he's going to perform like we expect. It's just a matter of will he be able to take the Nets to where they want to go.
Yeah.
Number 4, Anthony Davis.
Oh my god. I can't believe you have Davis over LeBron.
I do. I think he's going to be better than LeBron throughout
Gosh.
this playoffs.
Oh my
That's just my opinion. I don't, like I said, the Lakers I don't have going as far as maybe some other people, but they still were gonna make their mark on these playoffs.
have Davis over LeBron. Okay. Oh my god, that's awful.
Not-
oh my
not-
god, I already know another guy that's awful. Okay,
What's the problem?
go to number 3. Just
Number
go.
3, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Is there any objection to this?
I guess not. I guess not.
This, I mean, I guess I'll, I'm a Clipper. I'm on the Clippers bandwagon. So
Yeah.
obviously I have them going far in the playoffs, and like I said, I have them winning it all. So
Yeah.
I mean, why not have like Kawhi's going to have an outstanding playoffs if they want to go far. So
Oh, I know one of your top 2.
number 2,
Oh gosh.
coming off of an awful postseason last year,
God.
a guy we mentioned earlier, I think he's going to have obviously the second best playoffs among NBA players, Paul George.
Awful.
Okay, you can say that now, but when Paul George is going off and better than half of these guys on this list, I don't want to hear it.
It's fine if he's doing better than half. He's not doing better than almost 80% of these guys.
We'll see. Okay, now do you have any guesses for who my number 1 is?
Oh my god. Hold up. There's no way you have him. There's no way. What?
You know?
Okay, let me look.
Just think about,
I'm thinking.
I know, but it's not like we have all day, so.
Do you want me to make a guess?
Yeah. I mean, I can give you some options if that makes it easier.
Okay, I have 3 guesses.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'll go from like least likely to like my best guess.
Okay.
Devin Booker.
No.
Okay. Luka Doncic.
No.
Giannis.
No.
Oh my god, who do you have at 1?
James Harden. There can't be anything wrong with that. He is going to lead this team.
He is the X factor in this team, so okay, that's fine.
There's a lot on him to show up in big playoff games because he hasn't done it in the past. So
that's fine. That's okay. Okay.
So obviously Giannis didn't make the list. So
Giannis didn't make it. Luka didn't make it.
no. You got to think about it, longevity wise. Like if I don't think the Suns or Mavericks or Bucks are going to make it far, it's going to be harder to put them over some of the guys that I do think will make it far.
Yeah.
I know like what you said about Jokic, if he has like 5 triple doubles in 6 games, like sure, but it's just going to be overshadowed by the players who are able to lead their teams the farthest.
Okay.
So those are my top 10. Can't wait to get all the hate in my DMs
That's
after this episode's released.
Oh my god, that's awful. That is bad. I mean, more controversy for your top 10 than my top 10.
It's fun. It's
More.
fun.
Way more like bad controversy. Do you want to get to the NBA playoff predictions?
Yeah, we can do that. And then I have some, well, those were bold predictions to start with. And then I have more. at the
Tell
end
me
of the
about
show.
it. Shit, man.
I mean,
thought
I told
the
you that
year-
like it wasn't going to be like top 10, top 10 best players in the league and put them on a list. I'm not some boring old like fantasy expert like Matthew Berry who just copied and pasted his fantasy rankings year after year. So,
All right, let's go to the playoff prediction.
oh, you can start.
I'm going to announce the matchup, and then we'll both say who we have.
Fine.
All right, Hornets versus Pacers. I have the Hornets winning.
I have the Pacers.
Why so?
So the Hornets have lost 4 or 5, and LaMelo Ball is obviously a big factor in this team's success, and he just has not been the same. Although he is going to still win the Rookie of the Year, he is the X factor of the team, and I think just the Pacers have been here, done that, and I don't know, just more comfortable picking them.
Yeah, I guess you're going with the popular pick. You go with the bold pick.
It's fine.
All right, Washington versus the Celtics.
So this is tough. So I went back and forth on this a lot, but the more I look at it, like the loser of this game, I also think is going to end up advancing. So it honestly doesn't matter that much because but the
Seeding,
winner,
man. Seeding.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
sure, I guess difference between the 76ers and Nets. I mean, they're both, But originally I had the Wizards, but I heard today that Bradley Beal is most likely not going to be 100% for his game. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury, so that for me plays a big factor in this. So I'm picking the Celtics.
Celtics, it's not like they're ultra healthy either.
No, they're not healthy at all. Jaylen Brown, Kemba's been dealing with things. Tatum. I mean, but if I had to choose between the two, why not go with the Celtics?
I'm going with Washington.
Okay.
Bradley Beal, maybe like 90%, still drop 30. Westbrook.
Very well could happen.
Westbrook, I mean, I don't think he'll shoot great, but I mean, he'll be dishing out those assists. I mean, it's the big two, and they're gonna beat these hopeless Celtics.
I totally could see that happen. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
All right, next playing game in the West, the Spurs versus the Grizzlies. Who do you got?
I'm taking the Grizzlies. I don't think the Spurs have a shot.
Same. Yeah. I Next one.
This one,
the biggest play-in game. This is the beginning of the playoffs. Warriors versus Lakers. Who do you got?
So I have the Lakers.
Okay.
They're the better team. But like Curry can carry this team to a win in a one game, not elimination, obviously, but like Curry has the potential to overthrow this game, especially since the Lakers aren't fully healthy yet.
I have the Lakers too. I think it's going to be a great matchup. I'm going to really enjoy. I'm going to make sure I watch that game. I don't care a damn about the rest of these. I don't give a damn about the Hornets, the Pacers, Washington, Celtics. Maybe don't give a damn.
Well, the NBA created the playing game in hopes of getting games like this, so it's working out so far.
Yeah, I mean, 25% clip rate. So I don't know, but all right. So let's move on now to the final play-in game. All right. I'm going to start in the West. Warriors versus Grizzlies.
Warriors. Curry's going to lead them into the playoffs.
They just beat the Grizzlies last night to get that 8 seed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, so I just got to add something right here to account for you making the Pacers pick compared to me. Celtics for me. All right, so let's just do this. Celtics versus the Hornets / the Pacers. Who do you have winning? For your matchup, it's the Celtics versus Pacers. For me, it's Celtics versus Hornets. Who do you have?
I have the I picked the
You picked
yeah.
the Pacers.
Yeah. I have the Celtics.
I have the Celtics too, no
Yeah,
matter what.
yeah.
All right, so we actually ended up with the same teams. And
Just the seating's a little
different. All right. So oh man, what is this? Wait. No, it doesn't. Okay. So who do you have as your 8 seed? You have who?
I have oh no, I have Washington as my 8 seed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So / Washington. All right. So let's go. Sixers versus, and I have the Celtics as the 8 seed. Sorry.
Well, I'm hoping we both agree that the 76ers are going to win this series.
All right. Predict how many games?
So, I mean, this is kind of like my bold prediction later, but for this sake, I'm just going to say they sweep them.
Sweep. I think they're going to take, with the Celtics, I think they're going to take them to 6.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I totally see it in your case, but like for the Wizards.
Yeah. I mean, I have the Celtics facing against them, so.
Right. No, I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
All right, going on to the next one. Number 4 seeded Knicks versus 5 seeded Hawks. I have
the Knicks in 6 games.
I have the Knicks in 7.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be as competitive as we think.
I think it's going to be ultra competitive. I think Julius Randle is going to make out of that series a game-winning shot.
Okay. I like it.
Hopefully not in game 7, because then I'd be stressing. I'd be sweating my balls off for that.
I'm ready for this next series.
All right. Number 3 Bucks versus number 6 Heat. Jett, who do you have?
I have the Heat winning. I think they know how to. They've beaten Milwaukee in a playoff series in the past, and they could figure out how to do it again.
How many games?
7.
I have the Bucks winning in 6.
Okay.
The Bucks are out to prove them. I bet.
If they weren't playing the Heat, I would have picked the Bucks, because I do think the Bucks have a very, very good shot at going far, not all the way. So I just couldn't do it.
Conflicting interest, guys. He couldn't do it. All right. Last matchup in the first round for the Eastern Conference. Number 2, Nets versus the Wizards for me and the Celtics for you. Who do you got?
I have the Nets in 6 games.
Against the Celtics. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, since they're facing the Wizards, I have them sweeping the Wizards.
Yeah. I agree with that. Not my bold prediction doesn't agree with that, but I agree with that.
Oh, okay. All right, so let's move to the West now. Number 1 Jazz versus the number 8 Warriors.
This is going to be a very good series.
Oh yeah, it's going to be like, I don't think people realize this.
So
if it happens.
So you said Donovan Mitchell he probably won't be back for this series.
No,
right?
He will be.
Oh, he will be. Yeah, he will be back.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still want to take the Jazz in 6 games.
Same.
But it's going to be I think it's going to be the most exciting series of all the Western Conference.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I definitely could see that. But all right, moving on to the matchup of number 4 Clippers versus the 5th seeded Mavs. Who do you got?
So the Clippers have struggled against the Mavs. They lost 2 of 3 to them this season. But
didn't they beat them last season?
They beat them last season, but like this, they won obviously in the first round last year, but they're gonna win this round and rolling with the Clippers in 5 games.
I said the same thing too.
Wow.
Look at that.
My God.
All right. Number 3 Nuggets versus number 6 Blazers, Trailblazers.
This has a potential for an upset right here. I really believe that. I do believe it's going to go 7 games, but in the end, I think Jokic is just going to be too much for the Trailblazers, so I'm taking the Nuggets.
I am going with the upset.
Okay.
I'm going with the Blazers to beat them in 6.
Wow. I like that a lot. There's going to be some big upsets, I feel.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be that series and then the Jazz Warriors series.
Right. Yeah.
If that happens, those are the 2 series to watch out of the first round.
Yeah. This
All
next
right.
one too.
Yes. Number 2 Suns versus number 7 Lakers. Jett, what do you have in store for us?
So, I love the Suns. I love what they're doing, and they've proved they can play in the regular season. but the postseason is a different battle, and you're going up against LeBron, who's been here, done that. So I'm taking the Lakers in 5.
I'm taking the Lakers in 6. I think the Suns will put a little challenge on them, make them stress a little bit.
Yeah, I could see. No, I could see. I ended up seeing going 7, just because I don't think the Lakers are full strength yet.
All right, semifinals, second round, Sixers versus the Knicks. Jett, who do you have?
I have these Sixers in 6 games.
Okay. Ooh, this is a tough pick for me, man.
I won't be mad if you pick the Knicks.
Man. You know what? I'm gonna take what we can get. I'm gonna be happy with the second round exit. I'm gonna go with the Sixers winning in 6 also.
Okay.
The Nets versus, for me, the Bucks. For you, the Heat. Who do you have?
It's another interesting matchup right here. You know, we got the Heat,
Yeah,
the number 6 Heat, but fortunately, the Heat's hopes of making it back to the finals will end. I have the Nets in 7.
Nets in 7.
I do think that the Heat can play, and they're going to be competitive, and they're not going to just walk away after like 5 or 6 games.
Okay. Well, for me, for the Bucks, I have the Nets. I think this is a little bit of a bold prediction. I have the Nets beating the Bucks in 5 games.
I don't think it's bold. Just due in large part to the Bucks' lack of success in the playoffs. They lost to the Heat in 5. So
okay.
in this
And
round,
I mean, their defense is not good. I mean, I know the Nets defense isn't good, but the Nets offense is incredible. So, all right, let's move over to the West now. The Jazz versus the Clippers. Who do you got? Oh wait, do you have the? Yeah,
I have the Clippers winning. I'm rolling
Yep.
with the Clippers. I think they're going to be the better team. Mitchell still won't be at his normal self. So
How many games?
I'm going to say 6 games.
All right, I have the Clippers winning in 7.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting to see if the Clippers can really rebound from their mess last year.
All right, so now it will be for you the Nuggets versus the Lakers, and for me it will be the Blazers versus the Lakers.
So for me, Jokic is going to do all he can to propel this team to the next round, but the lack of Jamal Murray is just too big of an effect on this team. So I have the Lakers in 7.
7?
Yeah.
I'm going with the Lakers too. I'm saying in 5 against the Blazers. I think they're just going to roll through them. I think they're going to start clicking, man, and it's going to be a steam engine that you cannot stop.
Yeah, the Blazers, I mean, it shouldn't be there to begin with, but it's okay.
Oh, I don't know about that. Dame, man. Dame's hot.
He is. It's Dame time.
All right. Conference final. In the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the number 1 seeded 76ers versus the number 2 seeded Nets. Jett, who do you have?
Okay, so I just don't think, as much as like it's going to be tough for the Nets to get in, just in fact that like I don't think their chemistry is going to be 100% at this time, and the 76ers defense could be able to halt the Nets offense, but I do have the Nets in 6 games.
Same here. I have the Nets winning in 6 games.
Oh my God, our predictions are pretty similar.
Maybe this one will really determine it here.
Well, I think I know where you're going here, but you can go start on this one.
Clippers versus Lakers. I have the Lakers winning in 7.
Oh my God. I have the Clippers winning at 7 just because it's the Clippers here. So
no, it's not.
I don't think the Lakers can get back. Not this year anyway.
Absolutely. All right. So it is now the NBA Finals. It is arguably the team that is expected to be here in the Nets versus arguably 2 teams that we both have 2 different team, but we're expected to be here at the beginning of the season also.
Yep.
The number 2 seeded Nets versus the number 4 seeded Clippers for you, and the number 7 seeded Lakers for me. Jett, Who do you have winning?
This is going to be a very exciting series. I just think that the Nets aren't going to be able to get it done. I think that the Clippers were going to be the better team. They're better on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the Nets are better on the offensive side of the ball. It will go 7 games, but I do have the Clippers. Paul George, Finals MVP.
Paul George Finals and
Right in the Paul George bandwagon. Let's go. Oh my God.
So it's my turn. Obviously, the better playoff prediction for me. I have the Nets versus the Lakers, and in 6 games, man, when they're hot, they're hot.
Don't do it.
I'm going with the Los Angeles Lakers to go back to back.
No, don't do it. No. No.
Defending champs, baby. They defended one more year.
Wow. I like it. I do.
Oh
I
my!
guess we both don't like the Nets' chances of winning, I guess.
Nope. Oh my God! And LeBron, I trust.
Trust him a little too much to see him.
Absolutely.
That's probably why you had a
And
problem.
this right here, people, if the Lakers win the chip, this will be LeBron's greatest ring and will throw him over the top of the MJ LeBron.
No, stop
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
No way. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You cannot be serious right now. Do not
I
take
am.
that back. Take
Yes.
that back.
No.
LeBron's
Yes.
taken like 50 times to get to the finals and he wins like
Doesn't matter.
5% of them.
Doesn't matter. MJ never went.
Jordan could have done the same thing with 2 other teams
Oh,
if he
no.
wanted to.
Hell no. Hell no.
This is ridiculous.
Hell no. MJ would have never went through that type of gauntlet of teams he had to face.
Yeah, how many finals did Jordan lose? Tell me.
I don't care about how many this, how many that. It's the process. MJ faced nobody in the Eastern Conference and nobody in the finals.
Yeah, bro. LeBron had to get carried in multiple times by Wade, Bosh, Kyrie, Anthony Davis. Now, Anthony Davis is going to be the better player in that series anyways.
No, he's not. Gosh. I'm not saying LeBron is the best of all time yet. If he does this, though, he is.
I just don't think there's anything that LeBron can do to catapult him over Jordan.
If he does this, there you go.
I've had enough of this talk. Can I get to my bold predictions now?
Okay. Over under that there will be 4 game 7s in the entire playoffs.
Over.
By how much?
One more than that.
Okay.
Not
All right.
yet.
Get your bold
Okay.
predictions so we
So,
can wrap
Robert,
it all up and
all
stuff
right.
like that.
I know. We both got other things to do, but I got to get these in because these are going to make or break this podcast.
I think the biggest prediction for me was that LeBron take right there.
That was big. I don't think I'm going to get bigger than that. I don't think, but
That's going to be like that may be clipping that and posting that.
we're living by that on this podcast now. Well, I mean, you are anyways. I guess I have to live by it too. So
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm tied to the name. So all right. So my first one, Stephen Curry will break the single game record for points in a playoff game, which was previously set by Michael Jordan in 1986 of 63 points.
Whoa. When do you see him doing that?
I see him doing that in the actual like playoff against the
Jazz.
yeah, against the Jazz.
Okay.
I just think he's gonna go off. It's one of those games. Like he'll probably have a great series as is, but just one game. Like it'll probably be the elimination game. We'll just go off.
Okay. Wow.
All right. This one I didn't like. This is just bold. This is not something I actually stand by, but no, I stand by it, but it's not gonna happen probably. But none of the 1 or 2 seeds will make the NBA finals.
Wow.
That has never happened before, by the way.
Really?
Never happened.
That would be very odd.
But this could be the year that it happens just because.
Yeah, I guess it could because, I mean, the Knicks are in the playoffs. So,
oh, my God. We got to end this now before we start talking more about the Knicks.
Knicks tape.
Oh, my God. Okay, now this one. LaMelo Ball will lead the Hornets into the playoffs and become the youngest player to record a triple-double in a playoff game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Magic Johnson at 20 years old is the youngest right now.
Okay. I like that.
Could happen. All right. This scenario has not happened since 1976, where there were no playoff sweeps.
Oh wow.
So that's another bold prediction.
Okay. I could see that.
So far, what do you think of my bold predictions so far?
I like it. I like them. They're reasonable bold predictions.
Okay.
Like my LeBron take. It's reasonable.
That's unreasonable, and I can get multiple people to back me up on that. But let me finish with my last one right here.
I'll die by that. I'll die on that stand.
Okay, so my last one is the Jazz will break the record for threes in a playoff game. The previous record is 25 by the Cavs in 2016.
That seems like the most.
I figured.
Realistic.
It's gonna happen. I think.
Yeah, I definitely think it could happen.
Those are my bold predictions. So I hopefully you guys will let me know what you think in the comments of our Instagram post, or you could DM us on our account. So
yeah. So guys, that was the episode. A very long episode. We didn't. I mean, obviously, we talked for about 15 minutes, introducing everything and stuff like that. So, but yeah, guys, that was the episode. We'll be coming back. New episode on Thursday. Jett, do you want to preview anything?
No, that's the episode that I'm going to be leading. We're going to be talking some MLB. We'll probably get to a review of the NFL schedule, but also in the upcoming weeks and months, we will also be planning on having a bunch of guests. So if you want a guest on our show, please reach out to us. But we will be very picky in who we choose to be on the show.
He will be very picky. He'll be in charge of the guest list. But yeah, guys, this was our first episode of It's Game Time. We hoped you enjoyed it so much. Jett, you want to sign off?
It's been watching It's Game Time podcast. Have a great day, everybody.
Yes, indeed. Have a great day. Peace out.